Hawks, Bucks, Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 featured on the free-to-play Fox Bet Super 6 app. Download the app, answer 6 questions about tonight's game for your shot to win $1,000. Easy money.
ATL shouty,
said the girl who never played. Hey, can we talk about Kevin Durant, please? KD came awfully close to willing his Brooklyn team to the Eastern Conference Finals by himself. But ultimately, we know what happened. His Nets came up just short. A disappointing finish to a season many thought, including Brandon, would end with a title. As a result, Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen not buying KD as the best player in the world. Take a listen.
Surpassing LeBron James takes a little bit more than an individual's effort. LeBron James is a complete team player who understands team and winning. Has KD gotten to that level yet? He went home.
He's got 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs, right?
But to say that he's surpassed LeBron, I think he still has some learning to do in terms of what it takes to will a team to victory.
All right, Nick, what'd you make of what Scottie Pippen had to say to our buddy Vinny Goodwill?
All right, and shout out to Vinny. Great job by him as always. So listen, I still believe LeBron's the best player in the world. I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt that what we saw in these playoffs was due to injury, because the last time we saw him deal with injury, we've seen him deal with 3 injuries in his career. In 2015, when he went back to Cleveland, he hurt his knee, missed a few weeks, came back, and was bar none the best player in basketball. In 2019, he tore his groin. When he came back, he was a shell of himself. The next year was clearly the best player in basketball. And this year, before the injury, I thought he was the best player in basketball. So I still believe LeBron is at the top of the mountain. But that's the only thing Pippen said that I agree with. I think this criticism of Durant is, to be polite, really stupid. It totally ignores the fact that you can do everything a basketball player can do in a given game at the highest possible level and still lose that game. And what it feels to me is this is eerily reminiscent of some of the absurd criticism we heard for LeBron after what I consider to be the second finest overall game he's ever played. Game 1 of the 2018 finals against the Warriors, when he went 51-8-8, but he had 49 at the end of regulation, only scored 2 in overtime after poor JR forgot the score and the time. And they were like, oh, brutal. LeBron couldn't close the deal. That was ridiculous. And criticizing Kevin Durant for what he did in overtime of Game 7, because he was 0 for 6 and totally spent, to me, Brandon, disregards how brilliant he was to get them to overtime, how brilliant he was to get them to a Game 7, and how he showed in Game 5 in particular, because KD's never been the playmaker LeBron is, that he could get, if LeBron's a 10 out of 10 playmaker, KD got in Game 5 to an 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty damn good. So I just think the idea of, KD didn't know how to win, I think it's ridiculous. So I don't think he's the best player in the world, but I think this criticism is silly.
Yeah, Nick, you know I like to go deep, and you know I always love to talk about the mindset. To me, it's not even about Scottie Pippen. It's about the position. It's hard to be de-goated. Like this whole conversation between LeBron and MJ, who's the GOAT? There's a lot of like amazing argument out there that says, and also the eye test, that LeBron is the GOAT. Like you right now, give me 2 things to make an argument for LeBron James being the GOAT. Really quick.
Longevity, versatility, playmaking, all better than Jordan. No question.
Great, and then you can also turn on the film and you can compare the games. You can be like, you know what, LeBron is that, but it's hard to be degoated. It takes a little bit more. So Scottie Pippen, you're probably right on what you're saying, but we're talking about LeBron James and KD. LeBron James yeah, we know we can compare the play on the court, but then it comes down to wins in championships, Wilds, when you're talking about becoming the best player on the planet. That's why all year I said, look, LeBron James is probably still the best player, but who's the most dominant player is Embiid. Now, KD emerged in the playoffs, but there is a little bit to what Scottie is saying. Like, to be de-goated, LeBron James being de-goated, it takes a little bit more, and it's going to be hard for people to really make up a compelling argument to say, you know what, he's right. You know, KD is that guy. Now, what we saw there, he passed the eye test, was absolutely sensational and phenomenal from KD. So, you know, this is an interesting conversation all around.
So I'm going to try to make a little puzzle here. And it's going to be a little bit of backwards reasoning, but stay with me. Nick, do you feel like KD wants more criticism for airballing the last shot and not scoring in overtime? The idea where there's this idea sort of in the NBA media that if that was LeBron, LeBron would have been hammered for that performance, because we view LeBron on, you know, competing for like the GOAT title or the best player in the NBA. And the fact that we're not criticizing KD, maybe that means we don't hold him to his highest standard as we would LeBron. Right. Because I'm sure
we don't.
You can say that KD didn't, you know, I'm not criticizing KD. I thought they were an amazing special performance. But if LeBron did that, I think we would lead the show with, hey, shouldn't have LeBron scored 2 points in overtime? And we didn't really do that with KD.
Yes.
And is that because we don't hold KD to the as high a standard as we do LeBron?
Well, I think you're almost there. I think it's that we hold LeBron to a different standard than we have held any athlete in any sport in history. I think the vast majority of guys after KD's, and not the vast majority, every NBA player in history after the performance KD had in games 5, 6, and 7 would have gotten to skate on the overtime of game 7, except for LeBron. But what I find interesting about, you're talking about KD's mindset, I bet KD is actually more at peace with something that it's been reported and we know really bothered him, which was that after 2017, when he won the finals against LeBron, hit the shot on LeBron, that people were still saying, even though LeBron lost, that LeBron was better. That really bothered Durant. But now he's seeing why it was the case, because I think he understands, all right, I lost. I had the game-winning shot or game-tying shot hit on me by Giannis. But if anybody says Giannis is better than me, they're dumb. I bet he feels that way. I think he should probably feel that way. Even though I said Giannis could have a claim to best player alive, I think most people came out of the series saying Durant's better. So I think Durant is like he now experienced the best player on the court by far sometimes doesn't walk away the winner. And sometimes the guy on the losing team, people still like, well, Brandon, he's the better guy. He's the better player.
Yeah, well, look, Nick, I think it's wide open right now. I thought we saw the best of LeBron James, right? But doesn't mean he's not. He's not a dominant player anymore. He won't go out there and compete for championships. But LeBron James is not in his prime anymore. He'll still go out there and compete at an extremely high level, Jenna. But at the end of the day, KD, if he continues to do what he's doing, what he did in the playoffs and the Olympics, and then comes back in the regular season, stays healthy, continue that throughout the playoffs, win a championship, he'll get that. Absolutely. He'll never catch LeBron as far as like that superstar status and be in that conversation who's the greatest player of all. But he may be able to hold that crown for 2 years, maybe 3 years when it comes to who's the best player today. Now, Jenna, I want to fanboy out a little bit. Ask me the question, who the best player is in the NBA. Let me fanboy out a little bit. Oh. Please ask me the question. Please help me out.
Oh, who is the best?
Oh, no, what happened? No.